Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I now call the adjourned regular meeting of the Great Park to order.
I now call to order the regular meeting of the City Council and regular joint meeting with the City of Irvine as successor agency to the dissolved Irvine Redevelopment Agency.
The time is now 3:01 p.m. Pacific time.
It is 4:04 p.m. Will the
clerk
City
please
Clerk
call the
please
roll.
call the roll?
Councilmember, Board Member Agron. Vice Chairman Agron.
Here.
Councilmember, Board Member Carroll, and Chairman Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember, Board Member Treceder, Director Treceder,
Here.
and Mayor Chairwoman Khan. Director Khan.
Here.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chairwoman Kim. Director Kim.
Here.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And before we get started,
I
I would
will
like
ask
to turn
the
it
City
back to our
Clerk
clerk
to provide information on how to participate in today's meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Members of our audience, we ask that you please state your name for the record at the speaker kiosk. The time limit for speakers shall be established based on the number of requests to speak submitted before the first speaker is called. Provide live requests to speak submitted after the first speaker is called shall receive and submit comments for our e-comment. We encourage public comments to be for those who wish to participate courteously addressing Zoom.us using city staff browser and members of the public. Or the Zoom app on fostering our commitment to provide quality municipal
Thank you,
services.
Mr. Clerk. And at this time, I would like to invite those who are able to please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'd like to ask Vice Chair Agron to please lead us in the pledge.
Thank you. Please join in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The no other directors which to speak at this time will now go to public comment, and we'll go ahead and turn to our clerk and ask the number of requests submitted to speak on this item, both in person and via Zoom.
There are no requests to speak.
Okay, no requests to speak. If any other directors, no further comments, we'll go ahead and just say thank you, staff. This is a receive and file. Thank you for your presentation. We'll now move to the next item on our agenda, which will be public comments on matters not on the Great Park Board agenda. Those participating in Zoom may now raise their hands to electronically enter into our speaker queue. And any member of the public may address the Great Park Board on items that are within the Great Park Board's subject matter jurisdiction, but are not listed on our agenda tonight during this public comment period. However, no action may be taken on matters that are not part of the posted agenda. Turn to our board clerk for our Great Park Board and ask if you could please provide us the number of requests submitted to speak on non-agendized items, both in person and on Zoom.
There are no requests to speak.
No requests to speak. With that, we will turn to our Executive Director report and ask Executive Director Chi, are there anything to report on your end today?
Chairman Carroll, no reports this afternoon. Thank you.
No reports, thank you. And any directors wish to make any comments or have a report at this time? Vice Chair, is that you? Okay, Director Kim?
Yes, no, go ahead, please, others, please.
Oh, okay, we'll do Director Kim and then Vice Chair. Director. With that, we will go ahead and ask do any directors wish to remove any of these items for separate discussion. Okay, not seeing that, is there a motion? The Great Park Board will now consider items number 2.1 and 2.2. Those on Zoom may now raise their hand electronically to enter into our speaker queue. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by our Executive Director to be routine, and all will be enacted in one roll call vote. There'll be no discussion of items unless members of the Great Park Board request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar or for separate discussion. Before I turn to my colleagues, we'll consider public testimony on these items on our consent calendar. Will our clerk please provide the number of requests permitted to speak on the consent calendar in person or via Zoom?
There are no requests to speak.
No requests. We're going to hit a record today, Carl. Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
And that is the entirety of the of my presentation. Any questions?
Thank you so much, City Attorney. Councilmember Treceder?
Yeah, I'll make the motion then. Would you mind please investigating option 3 further and bringing the study back in July?
Will do.
Second.
I'll consider council business item number 7.6.
Two-pronged, really. It has to do with taking a look at our council policies and procedures with respect to members of our council that sit on certain boards and JPAs, where the city council would be directing the representative to vote a certain way, or not take a certain action, there would be some recourse with regard to the failure to follow that directed action. And secondly, the reason for the council policy, Orange County Power Authority has informed us that an amendment to the Joint Powers Authority Agreement to remove the weighted voting provisions. When 2 board seats are filled, in any vote, we count 2 votes, but the provision of weighted voting can be invoked and allows the city of Irvine to vote its share. That voting share, as I understand it, was recently updated such that the city of Irvine carries about 49, just about 1/2 of the power load of the entire Orange County Power Authority. This weighted voting provision was an opportunity for a larger city that has a lot of the power load and perhaps a lot of the say, an investment to have a weighted opportunity if needed, if a vote seemed to kind of move against that city. My belief is that to remove this critical aspect of the Joint Powers Agreement would be something that would reduce the ability of the city of Irvine to exercise its power and authority with the Orange County Power Authority if it needed to, and thereby reducing the ability to protect but the taxpayers here that have invested those funds.
With that, I'll turn it over to Councilmember Treceder.
If you're looking to persuade me to vote, I'm persuadable. Yeah, Councilmember Powell, I really value your point of view. You're elected by the public, and I try to include your point of view. I cannot figure out how the weighted vote will help us. There are a lot of constraints on the weighted vote. So one is that we need to have another city support the request for the weighted vote. It can't just be Irvine. The other is it does need to be an affirmative motion. So somebody, would need to propose an item and have it passed, and then the weighted vote to be called could negate that item. It could also happen with a tie. I'm hoping for your help. Maybe I did this exercise myself with chess pieces. These 2 black ones are Irvine, so this is Vice Mayor Kim and I. And then we have Huntington Beach, Buena Park, and Fullerton. Let's say we have a vote where all the other cities vote together and we vote no. So in that case, we might wish to go to a weighted vote. And so why would these cities second the weighted vote? I can't imagine that they would, because then they would potentially lose. We could get another city to second our weighted vote, but on the other hand, we've won. So why would we want to risk losing? I honestly can't think of a scenario, and maybe you can help me. Tell me the scenario where the weighted vote would help us with the composition of the board starting in July or after that.
And I see the demonstratives, and I appreciate that, but as the former chair and founding council member of that entire organization that you're on the board of, I can tell you that there is one very specific set of instances, and it's very simple: absences. There were rife amount of absences, and I'll have the city attorney go ahead. I don't need to, I'll be the attorney for this one. Everything you said was valid, but the other piece that, in addition to absences, it also doesn't accomplish of what happens with additional agencies. That the thing is designed to protect Irvine. Should that solar power investment be contemplated ahead of our $7.5 million being returned to the taxpayers, when clearly we have a split, non-unified council on whether this thing ought to continue or not? The majority of the city council would have to say, hey, you're going to this agency to vote, we expect you to vote this way. And that's the will of the city of Irvine, because it's a majority of the city. So that's the reason for the policy.
I just really want to follow up on what you're saying, and because to clarify, because again, I'm not sure. And I just need a scenario where the weighted vote will help us.
I'm not going to be able to persuade you tonight.
Okay, all right, there we go. Thanks.
Any directors wish to make any comments or have a report at this time? Vice Chair, is that you? Okay, Director Kim?
Well, yes, no, go ahead, please, others, please.
Oh, okay, we'll do Director Kim and then go Vice Chair. Director.
Yes, thank you. It was a really great groundbreaking ceremony today, and I'm assuming that this was just an oversight, but neither the chair nor the mayor acknowledged myself or council member, board member Kathleen Treceder, who was also present at today's event. And there was also no acknowledgement of...
Vice Mayor Kim.
Yes. I really thought that after our last meeting. I'm just shocked that we're here again. But this time it's actually for a more outrageous idea. And I need to begin by acknowledging the staggering level of audacity displayed out of sheer hubris by someone who conveniently evades responsibility serving our city on a regional basis. So it's fascinating to me and quite remarkable that this individual would dare try to dictate to those of us who willingly shoulder the burden of additional workload and telling us how we need to carry out our duties. And one cannot help but be marveled by the sheer laziness and gall intertwined with complete disregard for the sacrifices that we make when we serve on these regional boards. And so if anyone wants to take my seat on the fire authority, that by the way doesn't end until 10 p.m. at night, or SCAG where you have to drive to LA, then you can have it. If that's what you want. But, and I'm sorry, but this is bigger than just OCPA, because I find the motivation behind this completely insulting for those of us here on this dais who are actually doing the work. So these handcuffs that you seek to put on all of us here, because you're not stepping up and doing anything besides the bare minimum to represent your constituents, is rigidative, it's punitive, and it's impractical. So with these amendments, or with this item, this council can tell the mayor how to vote any certain way at OCTA. And so if there's any late amendments that might change a part of an item, is the mayor still going to be bound to that? Is she going to be threatened?
Vice Mayor Kim, just to clarify, this is for city appointments, not city selection appointments.
Okay.
So OCTA would not apply.
Okay, SAM. You serve on SAM.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay, so, sorry, SAM district. So at any given point in time, like, I might be voting on like 200 different things in a month. Between consent calendar, on OCFA, mosquito vector, library, I mean, you name it. And so I don't even know how this is practical. It's a slippery slope and I have no interest in going down this path. So in regards to the power authority specifically, the memo reads provisions to protect the city of Irvine. And the weighted vote provision is critical in protection of the Irvine taxpayers. It was never used. So this voting scheme that Councilmember Carroll claims is critical has actually never once been invoked. My colleague and I show up to every single meeting. We are not absent. We are never absent. Come hell or high water, we show up and we are there to vote, each and every time. That is how we are protecting our taxpayers. That is how we protect our investments, by actually showing up to vote. So this item does nothing to support Irvine's pursuit of clean energy. And I would argue that when you keep putting this on the agenda, that is what is putting our investment at risk. So I really hope that this is the last attempt of eroding confidence in our efforts for cleaner, cheaper, locally controlled power throughout Orange County. I hope this is it. But we will continue to be there, and we will continue to vote.
We have 4 requests to speak. I apologize, Mayor, it's 6.
Councilmember Carroll.
Yeah, I just want to respond. I think, Vice Mayor, the mechanism involved here is to simply vote no on a motion if I were to make one. You don't have to be unprofessional and resort to name calling and label people up here as lazy. Some of us actually also drove to Los Angeles to SCAG meetings for 2-3 years. I think that was me, actually. We all signed up for regional boards. We have a council member that's been here 3-4 decades that probably sat at every single, regional board. The mayor sits. It's just, I don't know what to say. I'm not going to engage in smearing and professionalism, but I have the right to put anything I want on this agenda. I will continue to do so, and I will ask for your respect, and I will ask for your professionalism. And you don't have to have it for me personally, but you could have it for the 38,500 people that voted for me to sit here.
Good evening again, council members. Alan Myerson. The weighted vote thing. So I don't see any reason to get rid of it, just in case something comes up that you can't foresee. I want to move on to another thing. Once again, Councilmember Kim, you can't control your emotions. It's amazing to me how many times you lose it up there because you can't take criticism. You can't take it when somebody is going to try to protect. All I see Councilmember Carroll doing is trying to protect the citizens. He's trying to protect the tax dollars. He's trying to protect the city. That's what I see him doing. And so for you to react in the way you have is really a shame. Because if you want to be mayor and you win and you're sitting up there and you're losing it because people are going against what you think is right, it's not a good look for a great city. It really isn't. And it's kind of disappointing at this point that you haven't gotten that under control.
I just want to say, first of all, Tammy Kim, you're lying when you say you attend every single meeting. You may have attended every single meeting to begin with, but you have left early twice on 2 occasions that I know of. In fact, one of the times was right after the vote on who is to be chairman of the OCPA, and you voted against your own colleague, Kathleen Treseder, to be chairman. So yeah, this weighted vote might be needed because Tammy Kim seems to not go along with Kathleen Treseder in some of these. And the last thing I just want to say is, Mike Carroll is just looking to.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Starting with Councilmember Agron.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to set aside all the personal attacks and nonsense, and I want to talk about, it really opens the door to a larger question, which is, what are we doing? I want to take people back to the basics. Remember what was promised: cleaner electricity at cheaper prices and full transparency. That fundamental promise was never kept. It was broken very early on. And this story just gets worse and worse and worse. Financially, OCPA could, on paper, kind of look good, but that's only because our ratepayers are just being hosed. OCPA is just taking an unconscionable amount of money from our ratepayers, they can just do it. This entity is pursuing its business under a predatory, deceptive scheme. It is preying on the inattention of Irvine ratepayers. And the idea here of trying to give some guidance, some direction to our representatives is, I think, fundamentally a good idea. I don't like to get a lot into the I told you so business, but I couldn't get this issue on the agenda on this city council for 2 years. And the fact that some people object that we discuss it now from meeting to meeting is probably the part of the price we're paying for not having discussed it early on, when some of us raised some real questions about the viability of this entity. Then I read about an agreement who will develop a solar plus battery. Did anybody on this council know about this? What are the terms of this power purchasing agreement? How much money is involved? It's supposed to be operational in 2026. Well, what happens if OCPA doesn't even exist in 2026? Who's going to be liable? What kind of liability might there be? I'm actually embarrassed.
Vice Mayor Kim.
Thank you. I too am open to discussion on the weighted vote. Now, with all of that said, Councilmember Agrin, you said our representatives need to look out for the city of Irvine. And so that type of statement, perhaps it implies that we're not looking out for the city of Irvine. But I do agree with you, and I think that is what we have been doing since we have started this. As you recall, I did not even want to be on the board at all. As a matter of fact, I begged you to be on the board. And I'm going to ask you again, Councilmember Agrin, will you take my place on the board? Through the chair.
Vice Mayor Kim, you can continue with your comments.
I'm asking a legitimate question. Will you take my place on the board?
He doesn't have to answer right now. Thank you.
Because I'm perfectly happy to give you my seat. So I'm here because I care about our city, and that's why I'm willing to serve on the board, because no one else will. We have 2 seats. And so to make a declarative statement that our representatives need to look out for the city as though we're not, I don't think that's right either. You know, it's one thing if you wanted the board seat and I wouldn't give it to you, but it's actually quite the opposite. Like, I'm begging you. If you'd like to take it, I'm more than happy to give it to you. So, again, you know, I'm happy to discuss this. I'm happy to talk about it. But if you feel like it's required that you give us direction, then I'm just going to say, why don't you take it? And that you'll have your direction and you can just go about what you need to do. So I don't think anyone here who is unwilling to go and do the work should essentially be casting stones at those of us who either willingly or unwillingly are still doing it. So whatever the council decides you want to do, then do it. But if you want to have punitive measures by removing me, then think about who's going to actually do the replacement. So think about that as well. But I'm pretty confident that I speak for my colleague. We're always doing the best we can for our constituents. We have went in, we have made the improvements. We're at like 90% of what the audits had recommended, and we're implementing them. By the way, the audits were based on the previous board of neither of us were on, and so we are doing the work, we are doing the heavy lifting, and we're finally on the right path where other cities may be interested in joining. So I'll leave it there. This really feels like a backhanded way to sabotage UCP. And again, I'm trying to understand this motion because I'm asking right now to be replaced. And so I'm being threatened to be replaced, even though I'm asking to be replaced. So this kind of doesn't make really much sense. Structure. So thank you very much. And at least I'm willing to serve on the board, and I've asked to be replaced. So thank you.
All right, Councilmember Treceder.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the discussion and the public comment. I would like to address now the benefits of getting rid of the weighted vote. I know people were asking about that. We could potentially recruit more cities to join. There is a general sentiment out there that among this other cities that they do not wish to join as long as there's a weighted vote. They don't want to be at a disadvantage.
Mayor,
Yes.
I just wanted to speak. Is there something I don't know? Is there some city out there in the entire universe, let alone just here in Orange County, that actually is interested in joining OCPA at this point? Well, I'd sure like to hear about that. Is there good news that we're not,
I'm not going to put those cities on the spot under these circumstances. I don't know what you would do with that information.
For the cities that want to join, if they'd like to pay down our loan and join, we would happily remove our weighted vote.
As I understood, Costa Mesa was
That was not a
very
question,
strongly
Councilmember.
asking to do that, and they were not allowed.
They were not paying. That isn't correct. We had that conversation. Councilmember Carroll, if you would be open to it, I would be supportive of a motion that requests our board members to not remove our weighted vote, but eliminates any of the other items in the memo, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, through the chair, Mayor. Yeah, I am open to that. I think if I'm following you correctly, and that's fine, we can just kind of the thought process as I went through this very briefly was that I wanted an ability for the five of us to speak and see if we had consensus or majority with regard to the importance that I perceive the weighting voting provisions of the Orange County Power Authority Joint Powers Agreement. So insofar as strong enough to direct our representatives to not remove it. But I'm happy to strip all of this out that I have in my memo, just have the third paragraph apply. It's not a policy anymore. I don't know what it is, Jeff.
It's a motion.
Okay.
It's a motion. It's a motion. It has a.
Right. So at the end of the day, if we just want to narrow out that mayor to with respect to just to this one issue.
So let me just understand. So the motion would be in the event that they did not abide by the requested vote, the matter would be brought back to the council as to whether or not we would remove them. Is that correct?
That's correct, right?
I'm trying really hard not to be insulted by this motion. It's almost like we're going to be spanked or something if we don't do what you want to do, and that's the whole premise. Please just treat me like a colleague.
Yes, I would be open to not eliminating the weighted vote. I need to look at the chess pieces a little bit more.
City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Councilmember Agron,
I already voted yes.
Councilmember Carroll,
Yes.
Councilmember Treceder,
No.
Vice Mayor Kim,
No.
Mayor Khan.
Yes,
Carries 3-2 with Councilmember Treceder and Vice Mayor Kim voting no.
thank you. Our meeting is now adjourned.